What's going on, guys? Great news. We got Maurice Hooker, WBO super lightweight champion, versus Jose Ramirez for the WBC 140 super lightweight champion in a unification. It's going to be on DAZN July 27th. I think it's going to be in Texas, Arlington, Texas, so should do well. Maurice Hooker's from Dallas. Jose Carlos Ramirez, he's a Mexican fighter, so Latinos are going to show out, support that. So stylistically, it's going to be a great clash. I don't see how it's a boring fight. I think I could I could anticipate both guys getting knocked down. To be honest, I could see multiple knockdowns for both guys. Both guys are actually pretty big for the division. I think Jose is like 5'11". I think Maurice Hooker is also about 5'11". They both have power. I think Hooker's like 28. I think Ramirez is about 26. So you got two young fighters in their prime, both a tad raw. Um, Both have good punching power. Both are tough. Um, they both had a couple of wars. Ramirez didn't look so great in his last fight versus Sapita. Most people probably thought Sapita won, or Ramirez got a definite gift decision in his last fight in Fresno. Maurice Hooker, his last fight was on the zone. Not too. Can't remember who he fought, to be honest, but no one dangerous. Kind of a dull performance. Not a dull performance, but kind of a dull fight. You know, um, both guys have power though. And I think stylistically they're going to clash really well. Should be a really good action fight. It will be on the zone. This is a good sign for boxing. I think boxing is 2019 has been kind of eh for me in terms of big fights wise, but I think boxing is coming around a little bit better. With the better fights. We're gonna have Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor at the end of the year. Who I believe are the top two 140 pounders, and then you got the next top two 140 pounders who are fighting in next month with Ramirez and Maurice Hooker. 50-50 fight. I'm not sure who's gonna win. Um, yeah, I'll have to sleep on it. I'm not sure who's gonna win. Like I said, they're both about even in my opinion, so I'm not really sure I'm going to lean with. I'll make a prediction when we get closer to it, but it's a good fight though. Stylistically, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be on the zone, which probably means it went on a purse bid, and the zone, had a higher or is willing to shell out more money. So I'm not shocked about Bob Arum's kind of on the cheap side, but nonetheless, it's a good fight. It's a unification. I always support unifications. I'm all for it. Both guys are in their prime. Stylistically, it's a good fight. I can't see it being boring. So if you're a new boxing fan, or just want to kick back, have a beer, and some pizza, and chill with the homies, that's the type of fight you'll want to watch. Like I said, I'm not sure who's going to win, but it's a 50-50 fight. It's going to be in Texas, Arlington, Texas. I think College Park. Um, so it's a good fight. July 27th. Shout out to the Zone and Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, and ESPN for making it work. That's a good sign too that we're having cross promotional fights. It seems like we're getting more of that. Wilder Fury seems like their negotiations are a little bit better. Um, I personally think Earl Spence might be fighting Terrence Crawford. It's not official or anything like that, but it seems like Bob Arum's cooled off on attacking Al Heyman and whatnot. So like I said, things with Earl Spence and Sean Porter have definitely died off a little bit. Sean Porter and his team already signed the contract, so I think it's a sign that Earl might be fighting Terrence. Not official, but it seems like we're getting more cross promotional fights. You got Bob Arum working with PBC and Eddie Hearn. So that's good. It's good to have these cross promotional fights. That way boxing doesn't stagnate. And I think, like I said, I think Ruiz beating Joshua, J Rock beating Hurd, Harrison beating Charlo. I think it might have been, even though we were, denied some good fights, I think it might have been a godsend to a degree. That marination is way overrated. Just because Floyd and Pacquiao were able to do it doesn't mean everyone else can. And I think it's mainly because these guys are not as accomplished. That's the main reason why it doesn't work. Pacquiao, Mayweather and Pacquiao were both legends before they fought each other. That's why we wanted to see it. Pretty Boy versus Pac-Man at their peaks. But marinating fights is definitely overrated, as we're finding out the last year and a half. So it's best to make the big fights while you can make them. And whoever loses, there's still other big fights for you. Even if Earl Smith does lose to Terrence Crawford, he can still go back and fight Sean Porter or Keith Thurman, Pacquiao winner. It's not the end of the world. Same thing with Crawford. He could always, go back and, either fight possibly whoever comes up from 140. Josh Taylor, pro grade winner. Carlos Ramirez has already talked about moving up to 147 in the near future anyway. So if he beats Maurice Hooker, that could be something they could visit. Plus, always an immediate rematch as well. So there's opportunities in boxing. I think it's harder if you're a heavyweight to move around because you're kind of stuck because there's no other higher weight class. But unless you're a heavyweight, there's always opportunities for other big fights. You could do the Sergio Martinez route. If guys at 154 won't fight you, move up to 160. I'm not saying you should have to do that. I'm not saying it's fair that you have to do that, but it is an option. Or you can do, what Dimitri Bivol has been talking about, possibly move down in weight. I'm not a fan of it, but if you think you can do it, do it. But I know I kind of trailed off a little bit. But either way, great fight, 140 unification. I would love to see the winner of Hooker and Ramirez take on the winner of Prograis and Taylor, so we can get another undisputed at 140. So I'm in full support of it. Great fight. Let me know what you guys think. Drop comments, like, subscribe. Stay tuned. Share the video. Take it easy.